Hello, everybody, and God bless. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Yeah, we're going to start something new here, the Supernatural Hour. There's so many great stories out there about people that went to heaven, went to hell, seeing demons, seeing Christ, got visitations. We got a great guest on tonight, Mercedez Lucke Benedict. I'll tell you, we pre-taped the show. I think it come out really good. It's about an hour long, so get ready for it. But I'm going to go right to the show. Let me go right to the show. And hi, Mercedez.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I am good.
All right. Now, I watched that show. What's the Dead Files in
The
2020?
Dead Files. They called us Damned in the Desert.
I seen that.
At that time, I was like, when I saw the show, I'm like, oh my God, they called us Damned in the Desert. You know, it was so heartbreaking. The whole thing wasn't what I thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it all worked out. Thank you, God.
Praise God, he did. Yeah. He's always there for us.
Yeah.
So was that your first paranormal experience, a supernatural experience?
No. What had happened was I was in these accidents, it was like 10 years before that. And that's when really everything started happening. But it was more about in my work. I went from a singer-songwriter, actress, I went through a divorce. I had then started to think about a different path, trying to keep both paths going at the same time.
Yeah.
Because that was my life. But what happened was it had a direction of its own. Now I know exactly what happened. It was God. And so I was catapulted into this other life. And then it was an amazing journey because the accidents, even though they were devastating, I mean, 2 life-altering leave the body type accidents where I came back into the body. But that changed whoever I am. And I started to see into the body. I started to feel and see lights. I saw things when I was working because I was just ending my schooling as a licensed massage therapist. And so all of it happened during these accidents. So I ended up getting a miracle was the doctor I ended up spending pretty much my whole first part of my career up till the pandemic. Dr. Swidler, he was the one who kind of took me in and goes, Mercedez, let me try. And so I started to heal with his program. And it was about the body jaw alignment program. So I went to work for him. And he knew that I was having these abilities. He knew that I was seeing things. And he would say to me, look, Mercedez, is this what you're seeing? And he would show me a book about something. So I was not trained. It just happened. And so I'm like, yes, it's exactly what I'm seeing. And so it developed slowly where I couldn't see anything. I could just feel things. And then it was almost like the veil. It was a veil. And that's why when I wrote my first book, I called it Through the Veil. Because that's exactly what it seemed like, was a veil. And so that, as I started to work with him, I did meet my husband, Joe, a few years later, 2014. But at that time, I really had only been experiencing, I was starting to see animal spirits. That was like my first spirits. And angelic spirits. I saw my first angel. And then I was focusing on what I was getting in people's bodies and my work with people and what was happening with them as I was working with them. And so when I met Joe, that's when things started taking a strange turn. He was literally working at a haunted attraction. He was one of the partners in town in Tucson. And ever since I started to work on him, that's when the dark shadow figure would come about in our sessions. And little did I know, because at that time I hadn't come to the property, his property. And then when I did come to his property, which was featured in the Dead Files, which is the property I live on now and love, and that's when really things started happening. And I was pretty strong at that time. I was very strong, and I really wasn't thinking. I did have my faith in God, but I was also pretty much. They called me a New Age healer, and I guess I pretty much was, but I never considered myself. I consider myself more of a spiritual healer. I was trained by a lot of Native American healers. Healers from all over the world would come to our facility. So I had a wide assortment of people that I worked with. And so I never thought of myself as just New Age like that. But I guess when I look back on it now, my faith in Jesus, my faith in Christ, my faith in who actually won the battle here, and I know who it was. I know who helped us. And my whole path changed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's when we got here. Yes, it did increase. And even at my work, people would come up there, and he would hand patients to me. And I'll never forget this one. It was around the same time when this woman literally had a demonic presence. She was so depressed, and I was working with her to help her, like, emotionally and physically at the time. And I just remember this thing just sweeping around and turning back and looking at me. And it was this creature in her saying, because I was doing a prayer. I was sitting there just doing the Lord's Prayer right before I do my session, which I always did. And it just sweeps around and looks at me like it was her. And it's like, that won't work with her. And I'm just like, oh my God, that had never happened up there before. So so I just started doing my prayer work, and it went away. But at that time, I wonder now, did I end it properly? No, I probably didn't. I didn't do the right steps. It's probably just part of it stayed, or, at that time, I thought I knew it. I thought I was really good, but I was not doing, so yes, some of it I had open doors, and then most of it I believe was right here on our land, and it was that why. I mean, the fact that we were able to battle it and come out ahead, because they literally told us, on that night in that show, you need to leave, and it doesn't really clear it up at the end. It looks like, like they didn't want to leave. Well, they really only got back with us 4 weeks later. It was only in December when that call came in, how are you doing? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I had an operation scheduled in January. We had put our property up for sale. We did put our property up for sale. It was for sale. We were going to move, but then the pandemic hit, and it just got worse. No one left. All of a sudden I was here at the property all the time, and all of us were. It escalated.
Imagine that. Well, I had a spiritual experience, and
Yes,
I wrote about it in my book.
I'm going to get your book.
Yeah, I was with a demon for 8 hours. But before that, when I was younger, I used to hear things. They used to wake me up in my sleep, calling my name. I used to get up, and I used to go in my sister's room or my brother's room. They were sleeping. There was nobody up in the house. I go back. They start calling my name again. Sounded like little kids,
Yeah,
And then as I got older, I saw different things. But the night that thing happened, wow, then I was convinced in God, in Christ, in the devil. What I wanted to talk to you about, you said you had 2 near-death experiences. What happened? Can you tell us?
Yeah, they were. I was on the first one. I was at a light in Tucson, and I just come out of I I was going through a lot of stress, and I'd come out of a counseling session, and I was at the light, and a woman that was a drunk driver just smashed. She was going, they said, about 80 miles an hour, just slammed right into me. And then that into I was stopped. So it slammed right in to the next people in front of me. And I was like pinned in. But all I remember was just this shocking experience, and the hit and the screaming. And then I remember just like being in pain. And then I just remember being up above my body. So I went up above my body and was looking down at what was happening. So that was my first out of body experience. Did I die? No, I didn't die. But whatever happened, I shot up, and I'll never forget it. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I have to go back there, and then I did. I went back in, and then it was just complete pain and chaos and screaming and people everywhere, and they got me out of the car. So that was life altering, because then I couldn't hardly walk. I was really hurt. And luckily my son was not in the car that time. Usually he was riding right there in the side with me and he wasn't that day. And so it was from that all of a sudden I pretty much I couldn't finish school. It was like everything trying to stop me from getting to where I am. So I lost my house I was renting. I was homeless one day, and I was saved again by the doctor that was helping me. He knew somebody I could go stay with. So anyway, I couldn't walk, and then my journey was how to get back to where I could walk, which is where I did. But as I started to kind of heal up after Dr. Swidler started working with me, we had gone to Texas and flown out of Texas back into New Mexico, and I was driving back, and there was a storm, a really horrible, and in that area you get a lot of these sandstorms or floods, and that's what had happened. They'd had a flood and a sandstorm, and I took off driving the next morning, and at this one point the wind was blowing, and I lost control of the vehicle, and I started sliding. We rode 15 times. There was nobody. I don't know, there was cars everywhere, but we didn't hit anybody. And all I remember at that point was like, I'm like, this is it. I mean, I already went through the first one. I'm like, Tristan's with me. This is it for me. And I remember a bubble of protection. I'll never forget it. It was like encompassing me, a bubble of light all around me, like that. And we just were rolling, and I was just like seeing my life flying before my eyes, like they say in the books or whatever. And we landed. So the whole car the windows were out. Everything was just demolished, but we were fine. He had one cut on him. Yeah, one little cut on his leg, and I had nothing. And I wasn't re-injured it was just like 3.5 months prior, 4 months. I didn't re-injure myself, but on that one, it was like I knew that God had saved us, and it reaffirmed everything for me, kind of like your aha moment when you knew. And then it still didn't, like, it wasn't perfect after that, but it was the beginning of a transition in my life. And then it even altered more of my perception, like for the remote viewing, and it's almost like psychic surgery, that with the lights I see, it's all of it really brightened up for me. And then my path just lit up and increased of what my goal was, what I just knew what I was supposed to do. But both were like, I don't know how I do know God saved us, but it was an amazing, when I look back, it was horrible, but now when I look back, I know it was a blessing.
Can you tell me the story of the demon at the bottom of the hospital bed?
Oh my gosh. So that one is one that...
Was that from the first accident? Or?
No, this was because like I said, we had an operation planned for me. When they came to visit me at the with the deadfalls that week, I had been so sick. So when you see me, of all the times to have to be on TV like that, I was
Mhm.
very sick. I was not well, and I didn't look good. I was just very ill, and it was it was then what she had said was absolutely correct, because I had just found out the day before that there was something right in those areas, that I had gone to a healer and a real physician too, but he had seen that in that exact area where the pictures are, were in my lower belly. He just said that. So when she said that, it was like, oh my God, it made me realize what had happened. What was that thing? It really was something horrible. And so I was set to have this operation, and so that's what happened. I was so scared because I was still living in the house, and I knew that this was not good. I was weak, and I knew going to the hospital was going to be dangerous, but I had to go to the hospital. So going in was scary, and I had all these people praying for me, but I didn't remember, being in the operation. But that's
Mhm.
what I do remember is when I came out of the operation, all I remember was people screaming, again, screaming, breathe, Mercedes, breathe. And I'm just like in my wake up, and I'm waking up, and I'm like in a daze, and I'm like, what is happening? And they're, but she's like, you've got to breathe, breathe, Mercedes, breathe. And I'm like thinking I'm breathing, and then I'm hearing all these other people around, these other people trying to put the thing on my face. And he, breathe, Mercedes, breathe. And then I see it. He's right at the foot of the bed. And I
Wow.
remember walking when I was walking in, or they put you, I don't know, I think I walked in, but I could see this room with these big windows, and there was all these hospital beds. Like that was the recovery area that they would bring out the people, but I didn't realize that's where I would be. I'd never been to this hospital. So, but
Mhm.
when it was all said and done, I realized that that's where I am at, because I could see the window. I could see the same window that I had been looking at walking in. So I could see everybody out there, but I saw him right at the very foot of the bed, of the hospital bed, this black
Mhm.
shadow man. It's the same one here, but he looked slightly different. It looked more like the Grim Reaper. It was different than the one we had seen here, but it was similar because they were both shadows. They were both dark, but he was taller.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, breathe, Mercedes, breathe is happening. And then I'm
Yeah.
looking at that, and the only thing, because I knew that I had to do, the only thing I had was the Lord's Prayer. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what I did. And I feel like I said it out loud, but I might have just said it in my mind. Either way, I knew I was saying it. And as
Mhm.
I finished saying it, imagine you're hearing all this chaos, you're just focused. I see him because I don't want to die. And I certainly didn't want that thing to take me after all that we've gone through. I was
Mhm.
not wanting that. And as soon as I finished that last word, amen, he was gone. And immediately to my left, that's why I didn't share of this piece, because I knew it would be someday, it would be better to share it after, you know, I got
Mhm.
through it. But that's when I heard this bloody murder screaming next to me. Like it felt like it was about two beds down, like that, about that, not way far, but not too far. And this woman was just screaming like crazy. And all the people started to rush. You could hear them rushing over there to this screaming woman. I mean, it was instantaneous, instantaneous.
Mhm.
Amen. So she got it. I don't know if she died or not. All I know is that they went to rush over her, and then they took her. You could hear them taking her out like it was an emergency.
Right.
And then I was starting to breathe, and they were saying, "Good, Mercedes." And like they're breathing, and so she goes, okay, you're gonna be all right. And I'm just like, oh my God, you don't know how much I'm all right. I mean, I was really conscious then. By then I was
Mhm.
really getting conscious. And then they kept me there a while. And when I was all right. Like it took about 2 more hours. They said I could go. It was that weird. It was like, I guess I'd been in there. I was supposed to just get in and out, but I had been in there about 3 hours, or
Hmm.
almost 4 hours, not being able to breathe good. That they were concerned about me, and then when I finally woke up, that's when that's when all that happened.
Mm.
Oh my god, it was terrifying.
But you never, in the hospital, you never felt yourself coming out, your spirit, man, nothing. You were
What now?
just gaining your conscious. Uh,
Yes. Yeah, it was like I just started to wake up and heard all that. And then, I'm conscious then because I was able to look and see what's around me, but he
right.
was right there. The second I was looking, it was, and we both know KO, and a long time ago when I first met her, I told the story on Hollywood Entertainment News. She liked the story. I didn't know her then, but
Hmm.
I had seen the same of the Shadow Man.
Yeah.
Usually he was one place or another here or there, but he was at my front door. And so I told the story about what happened when he was literally, we had come back from Sedona and this figure was at the back door. This was after the accident. I mean, this was after the operation. Because
Hmm.
after the operation, we got to go into recovery time.
Yeah.
What happened was after I was at the hospital, I went into recovery. And so for recovery at home, we had decided to take a trip to Sedona, Arizona, which is not too far from, like, 4 hours from here. And my husband was working. So it was great. I was like,
Hmm.
this will be great. We can get away from all this stuff here at the house. It's happening. And I can heal and I'll be safer there. So I did feel like I was getting better a little bit, and I felt more confident. But my dog was with us, my little dog, and my little Lulu, and she went with us for recovery for me too. And so on the way back, that's when we walked in and we started to argue in the car. Just as we're driving, we hadn't argued the whole time. Just as we started driving down this dirt road, get to our house, it started again. It's like all of a sudden there's all this craziness and anger, and it's just
Yeah.
insane. And
Well,
so
that's what
then,
they do. Yeah.
oh my God, yeah. And then we got to the house and there was a storm coming. It was like from the scene from a nightmare movie. And then I
Hmm.
remember like putting all my stuff up, and then I looked up from the bedroom because I was using that other bedroom as my office, and Tristan was in the cabin. So I'm back in there getting stuff ready, and I can see somebody. I thought it was Tristan because he had been wearing black. He'd been wearing a hoodie. He was. We were coming from Sedona, which is cold, and I'm over there at my door, looking at the glass door, thinking Tristan is in the door, and I'm like, "Come on in,
Hmm.
Tristan. It's all right. It's all right. Just come on in. The door's not locked." And he didn't move. So I'm like, well, maybe the door's locked. I mean, the wind's blowing. It's just so I walk over to that door, looking right at a person in dark standing there, and I went to open the door, and I'm like, it's not locked. And I looked up, and I start to open the door, and it's gone, completely
Yeah.
gone. And
Hmm.
I flipped out because I mean, if you think of like who was Mercedes, like when you saw the show, like that was a pretty. I was still not the best, I was kind of a mess at that time then, and it was gone. So I go out to that porch, and I'm just like, was anybody there? And I'm screaming, like, was who? I saw Tristan over at the other house. And I'm like, were you just here? Yeah. So I'm like out there saying, "Were you here?" And I'm like yelling, and he's like, "No, no, I wasn't there." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So Joe was in the back room, I remember, and I just took off screaming and running, and I told him what's happening, and he thought I was just like, "What in the hell has happened?" Um, so they, what's her name? Amy Allen. had given me what was actually working. It was this salt. She had given me some sort of voodoo type salt thing that I was to use around my bed to stop that thing from coming into my dreams and the room. And so I was using this salt, and I had left it in Sedona. So then I'm trying to find the salt, and it's gone. And so I called the lady. The lady was so upset that I'd left it there. She said she'd bring it back to me the next day. So she did. So, I mean, I'm just literally in a horrific panic. So we go around the whole house doing the Lord's Prayer. We do our, everything we had that we knew at the time to do. And so I just settled in till I got my salt. At the next day, I went and she came and bought me the salt. But horrible thing that happened was when we had gotten home, I had these angelfish. Had several angelfish that I had for quite a while. And when we got home and we looked at the aquarium, the angelfish were in. That was what I saw before this shadow man was there. Was our aquarium was in black murky water, and all my angelfish were dead. And the man that was watching over our house while we were gone, he said that they were fine all the time, that he doesn't know how in the heck that happened, because nothing had happened to that aquarium. So I just found it very interesting also that they were angelfish, but black aquarium water. I mean, it was just bad. And it was in the corner that they talk about in the room. It was in the back door. So in that back door entrance, that's where a lot of things would happen in the house. And it had like a stagnant energy that was always there, and then there was just different things that were happening through that area. So it didn't surprise me that was happening. But the next day, my Lulu, my precious little girl, Lulu, doggy, she got a mysterious sickness, and we rushed her to the vet, and she had septic. She was septic. She was very sick. She was so sick she was dying. And that happened. So it's almost like, I mean, how devastating is that, right? It was like my child. She went everywhere with me, and I'll show her all the time on Facebook, and she's always dressed like a little girl. She was I loved her. So she was taken from me by them. And I almost think, like, did she sacrifice herself? Was she sacrifice for, instead of me? I mean, is that what happened? I don't know. I mean, it was a bad time, but they are bad. They are very evil. And so I think the wake up for me was realizing, like, all my life, or all my time when all this started, working with people, I was brought up, I was shown and told these things are not real. It is just, you just say goodbye or leave, go to the light, and I call it the fairy dust mentality. And that's how I was kind of thinking all my healing work. You just go to light. I didn't believe in demons. I didn't believe in the demonic. I just figured they were just darkness. And I guess I was naive. I was very naive, but I was also naive in a good way, because I did believe in God, that I did believe that the light could overcome. But when it started really taking me down, and you knew it was them, and I could see them. I could see most of them.
Yep.
I
was seeing them all the time.
Yeah, and then the more you see them, the more you do see them too. Yep. But I did. That's why I am thankful to come here, and instead of just talking about the fluff of it, or like what a lot of people like to talk about is how scary it was, and like it's this and that, really focus on that, which it is scary. But I like to focus on the fact that I understand God is the only one. Think of all the people that there's all these people that tried to help us because of the work I was in. Even Joe's work, he had a lot of people that tried to help us, I had some great people trying to help us. It would only work for a little while, and then it would come right back. And
Hmm.
it beats you down. It beats you down. And even during the pandemic, I reached out for an exorcist because it was overcoming me again, like where I was almost comatose. Like I couldn't get up. I couldn't in the room. I couldn't move. I was like under pressure, like not being able to move, like I was
There
weighted
was a
down.
spirit of dread on you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we
Hmm.
had Joe saw me like that, and he had to call in somebody. But it was then they were able to get out and off of me, but it was still right there. So I wanted to reach out for a priest or an exorcist at that time, but none
Hmm.
would help us. None. I didn't know about the Order of Exorcists at that. Who I help now, the Order of
Hmm.
Exorcists. I didn't know about them. I didn't know who Bill Bean was. I didn't have television, so we didn't watch. I didn't really watch any of the shows anymore like I used to.
Hmm.
Um, so I I just was distraught, thinking, well, I don't. I knew that we had to have something different. We had to have something more. And
Hmm.
thank God we got. I reached out for that guy there to this guy's radio broadcast. Or, can't remember his name right now, but he um, somebody heard my prayer was on. I put myself on a prayer list, and some
Yeah.
lady
We
called
do
me.
that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there and it helped. And well, what happened was she out of I don't even know who it was. She messaged me. I heard your prayer. She goes, I think you should call Bill Bean, Reverend Bill Bean. And I'm like, well, I don't know who that is, but I will look him up. And so that's how I found out about Reverend Bill Bean, who had been
Hmm.
on television. He'd actually been on the Dead Files, I guess. But
Hmm.
he's a he's a good person, but it took us quite a while before it was a few months before we actually did that. I thought he'd have to come here. I didn't see how any way possible because nobody could travel then. And so what I did start doing was started to watch Warrior Mode, and that was one of his shows. And I'd never watched podcasts or listened to podcasts before, but I was hooked, and I was learning so much, and I felt really good about what I was learning from that podcast. And then
Hmm.
eventually, and it was the turning point because Kev Dave Baker that was on there, he knew of me because we got to talk a little bit, and he's the one that said Mercedes is from Ireland. He's from Scotland. He goes, you should be doing your podcast. You should do a podcast. And so it was through him that I really decided to go back into media, and I'm
Hmm.
very thankful I did because I love that. I love all this stuff. I love media work. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, so it was Bill Bean ended up doing a phone call, a Zoom call, and we had three different exorcisms, and three different times because certain parts of the property we couldn't do at that time. But
Hmm.
it was miraculous every single time, life
Hmm.
changing.
I'll tell you, it's amazing. It's amazing what God could do when you call out to Him. Now, I went through, after that happened to me, I really went through a haunting. I was seeing the shadow people all the time, getting touched all the time when I was sleeping. It was probably about maybe 4 or 5 years. Actually, when I got down to Arizona, FCI Phoenix, it started to slow down there. I was teaching more. The more I got into the Bible, the more I prayed, the less I saw, and the
Yeah.
less fear I had for them. I really didn't have fear, but they startle you sometimes. The things I've seen, it's amazing. And what happened with you, they follow the people. They do that. They follow someone there at that house, whoever was there before, and you were still, you were in the middle of all of that. And
Hmm.
they didn't want to go away. You didn't have the power to send them away. That night when that thing happened to me, luckily, I used to go to my mother's Bible studies once in a while. And I learned a little. It was enough to keep the devil back, but not to get rid of him. So that night, I called my mother. The pastor came over. They all came over. They prayed with me. and I took the host. And after that, even though I did all that, there was a haunting in the house. They kept bothering me, you know. But it took a while. You got to just have faith and keep moving on, you know, and God will prevail all the time.
Do you think that because of your prior work or prior life, that anything might have come out after you from just being in that kind of a negative place?
Well, you got to remember, you know, we're like devil's advocate when we're out there. You know, we're doing his work. Whether it's selling drugs, murder, loan shark, whatever it is, whatever you're involved in. Of course, those things can come upon you all the time. You're in his playground. And this is where he wants us to stay. The worst part of it is when you turn on him, wow, then he's really upset. Then he really wants to come at you, you know? And he's seen that happening with you. And they did the best they could do, you know, to actually turn you back. But you didn't go. You did the right thing.
Yeah, and then if you think about that, like there's a lot of noise. Sorry, thank you. There's a lot. Somebody's out there. We have a lot of dogs, and one decided to come in and just eat a bunch of food right now. So
all right.
it was being very noisy. But yeah, so it's kind of like, Bobby, what do you think? Like, it is amazing. Like, we're two people here, and God did help us. But there's all these people out there that are seeking help. But sometimes I think, look how much suffering I had to do, and I'm sure you had to suffer, and you had to. Go. So I don't know. Sometimes I think you really have to ask God. And like, I didn't really realize I had to ask God every single night. We do this too, ever since 2020, when we met with Bill. My husband and I, we do our prayers every single night together without fail, and we kneel together. And we do our ritual of prayers every single night. And it gives me I think it's really strengthened us from that moment on. Another thing we do is we go, when we stop at the gate, we're in the property. So we did fence our property, but we stop at the first gate. We do the Lord's Prayer. When we drive in and come in through the other gate and we go to our house, there before we walk up those steps, which are in the show, we stand there and we do the Lord's Prayer. If he comes in from his shop area, he does it back there. Anybody that comes into the property that is in our family does this. Now, there were family members that came to the property after the Dead Files left. So during the pandemic, we had a whole other group, my family. They did not want to participate with that. And it turned out to be almost like a war, because there were people that were trying to battle this and others that didn't want to believe it was happening.
Right. It was
horrible. But that was part of our rule, you know. So when they did move and have their own place, you know, they can do what they want. But when they were here on our property, that was mandatory, because we had gone through all that, you know. So I do believe that I love to tell people that, because I think we should all be doing. I think we should all be doing our. If you're having to battle this stuff, I wouldn't dare come through that gate without doing it, just because I wouldn't. And if I don't, I back up and I go back and I do it again. I start over. That's how much it means to me and to Joe.
Praise God. That's good. Yeah. Praise God.
Yeah.
Tell us now, though. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's like, you know, sometimes I even think to myself, it's so peaceful here now. You know, we check in all the time. I'm always checking in what's happening. If they show up, if at night, a lot of times I still get things at night, but I see it and I ask, I'll ask a certain question. Is this from God, or is this with the Jesus Christ, you know? And if I get a no, I immediately do my bind and rebuke and cast them off, and I pray
Mm-hmm.
the blood of Jesus Christ. And I'll do that even in my sleep or my dreams.
Yeah.
So I can watch them, Bobby. I watch them walk away. They walk away from me. And so there was a time when we had the Tucson Ghost Society come out. They were not in the show, but there's a lot of stuff you can find online about them, and they were so helpful because at the same time, right before Bill showed up, we had them out, and they recorded. They brought everything out, and they couldn't come out any earlier because of the pandemic. So when the pandemic kind of released a little bit, we were able to. Because I was desperate, like I hadn't found Bill at that time, but it was all happening simultaneously. They caught the most horrific voices in that cabin. It was like four different, three different
Oh yeah.
adult sounding voices and one child. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the voices sounded like it was from some weird world. I mean, it was from a different world. One was this
Mm-hmm.
crazy kind of woman, one was this little girl, and she was like, I'm scared, just like that. And all of them are talking at the same time, and they recorded this. So part of the documentary that I did, I recorded everything. I went around with every single thing I could, and I filmed whatever. Just I didn't know I was going to make a documentary, but I'm glad I did it because I saved all this footage. And when it came time to like trying to knowing that we had won the battle, I just put all this footage together and I pieced it together, and that documentary did get picked up. It did. God wants because it tells the story of what happened here, and it shows that God won. And
Yes.
it was crazy because all those voices and all that stuff, so the team would come out. They came out every single time. They found they never failed. They found voices. There's like people right out there just talking.
Mm-hmm.
They're conscious because one time one of the people they picked up, she could hear the dogs barking, and you know how they talk and stuff, and then they go back and listen. She was talking like, I wonder what dog that is that's barking. And later, when they went to listen to it, it says clearly Eli. And she didn't know I had a dog. It was a puppy. He was a little guy. I just got him, so she didn't know that he was on our property. She didn't know I had a dog named Eli. And so
Mm-hmm.
she didn't understand what that meant until she saw a Facebook post where I was talking about Eli and how he barks a lot. She goes, Mercedes, she put the two and two together. So they were telling her it was Eli.
Mm-hmm.
These are the spirits. I mean, there's so many. And children, so like the children's spirits, that is just freaky. You think that they are because they're children, but they're not. I mean, they're not doesn't mean that they're children. And so
No, they're
you
not.
experience that too, the children.
Mm. Well, that's the voice when I was younger, and I lived on my mother's house, my mother's building, and they used to wake me up every night, calling my name. Sounded like kids, you know. Bobby, Bobby. That's all I would hear. Little kid's voice, you know. And they used to wake me up, and I used to walk around. Everybody be lights out. Everybody's sleeping. And
Where was this house? What did you find out that
it
was there?
was it was on Maverick Street in East Boston. My mother had an 8-family building. My mother and father had an 8-family building, and I went back and forth there. I don't know when that was going on. I was probably like 15, 16 years old, you know, and they just kept waking me up. And my mother, one time, I love for her to tell the story, but one time she's in bed and 2 children came to her and wanted to talk with her. And she told them, you can't stay here. When my mother became a born again Christian, she started the Bible study in the building, in her apartment. She had a big apartment. When she did that, they went away. Finally, the building was like it was clean. They don't want to be there anymore. You know, I got so many stories. We've been through so many things. You know, since I was a kid. But you know something? I've overcome all of it with Jesus Christ. It's just amazing. And
That's
when I was in the room with that thing, every time I mentioned Jesus' name, it would like regress and go back, you know, like it was like a sword.
yeah.
So yeah, this is what was happening.
So
Didn't want to hear it, you know.
yeah. Now, when you are working with and doing your ministry now, do you run into people that you have helped by, and they tell you that this has helped them too?
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, you know, I have people. You know, they comment on the show. I needed this. Thank you. You know, all different things. I try to help as much as I can. And you know, when I was in prison, you'd be surprised how many people had these experiences with the shadow people. Many, many. Because I'm going to tell you, you know this anyway, not by experience, but you know, once you drink alcohol or do drugs, you're altering your conscious mind,
Yeah.
and it can allow your spiritual mind to open. And this is what starts coming in. These people that are doing drugs all the time, alcohol, whatever, they start seeing these things. Like with me, my spiritual eye opened. I was able to see them like right next to me, walking across the tiers, walking in my house. You
Yeah.
know, when I seen them in the house, I used to chase after them. Believe it or not. Yeah. Yeah. One time when I was chasing in the kitchen, it went around the chandelier in the dining room. And then, boom, I think I went upstairs, you know. Oh, yeah, I could tell you a ton of stories, but this show's about you. I don't
Well,
want to make it about me.
okay. I do believe though that the alcohol, and so I do not drink. I do not drink anything. I don't do anything. I don't do any
I
drugs.
hardly drink.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and I did before, and
Mhm.
when I would, I'm sure that's when I know that's when I was the weakest, and
Oh, of course.
some horrible things happened. So I
Mhm.
do not do that, and I try to tell people that too. So I appreciate you sharing that, because I think people just don't understand, but it puts a hole into your energy field, and then they can come in and out. Like in my work,
Mhm.
I see these things, like I see almost, I call them the portals or plugs, and they literally, you see them attached to people. You see these things, and
Oh, yeah.
where they're stuck in them, or how
Mhm.
they've affected them. So yeah, and then one thing I would love to talk about sometime with you is about the prayer and fasting. And I must say, so I did write a book, Prayer and Fasting: A Better You Through Prayer and Fasting. Have a podcast, and I would love for you to be on that, about that. But that,
Yeah, anytime you want, I'll be there.
yeah, that is the thing. That is, that is like a code. It's like the key. It's a code. You put those together, and that is like God has done it right there with you, and you are strong. And so I
Mhm.
cannot recommend it enough to people to do that. Just start small, you know, read
Well, that's
about
what
it.
I did.
You talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I started small. I worked my way up to it, to the
Yeah.
40 days. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome. I want to do 40 days.
When
I,
I
I,
used to do 40 days, I used to lose 40, like I lose like a pound a day.
yeah.
So
But
40 days, I lose about 40
but
pounds.
you were strong though. Still, it's like God is protecting you.
Oh, yeah.
Your body gives you. We have all the stuff on our body, so it's like
Mhm.
it has its own nutrients, if you do
Mhm.
it the right way. But
Yeah.
did you do prayer every day with that too?
3 times a day.
Yeah.
On my knees, on a rug. Yeah. In my prison cell. And
Oh,
then I
that
did
was,
it all through prison. The
oh my,
14 years I did. Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
Because when you deny the flesh, you're building the spirit. Stay in a constant prayer. And I needed that at that time.
Yeah.
You know, it was really good. It was an experience. People said, they laugh at me. They said, I'm glad I did the time. It changed me. I'm doing this now. I'm out of that life. So it was meant to be. It had to be.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I got a degree in theology while I was in there. I wrote 2 books. I taught classes, Christian classes, constantly in there. Every prison I went into. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's like it was the right thing. It was the right place.
Yeah.
You never know what. Like you can't make it up. You can't even write it out like what you want because you never know. God can make it so much better for us.
I do these shows and teachings to stay close to God because I'm in the world now. I work. I got a job. It's very easy to walk away. Very easy not to pray in the morning. Very easy not to do this or that. And just start falling back into the world slowly, and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
God's still working some things out of me right now. I know what they are. I'm smart enough, and I'm trying. I'm trying to do the best I can. But listen, I don't care in the kingdom of Christ if you're an A student or a C student or even a D student, you're still in.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
If he loves you, he loves you. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's an everyday walk, and if you I'm a songwriter too, a singer, and a lot of my songs are the one's called "A Better You," but it's called a spiritual warrior song, and so it talks about if you get knocked down after you're standing tall, just brush yourself off. It's no trouble at all. The superheroes always get back up when they fall. Right. And that's the Praise way God. It is. God will let you get back up, and God's right there with you. And and we gotta walk our walk. Even if we slide back a little bit, that's happens. It's just another stepping stone. Like think about what would have happened if we would have sold the property, if we would have given up. What would have happened to us? It would probably still stayed right there with us. But I knew the second I walked on this property, I knew it. Like I felt like I belonged there. Like driving down the long dirt road, it's like I've been here before. It was something about this place. Like I was meant to be here to help. Like think about the people that had died. They didn't talk about this, but I shared with them. We have so many deaths, Bobby, here on this little place. They wouldn't talk about it, but there are murders in this little country, Alfred Valley area. We've got at least 10 really crazy murders. Some of them have not ever been solved, and there's more to it. There's a lot of satanic stuff in this place, a lot of people and things all crisscross, the wars and all that. So it was just waiting for somebody to come prey on this land.
Yeah.
I
believe that. Well, we're closing in on an hour right now.
Oh my gosh.
Tell everybody what projects you're doing now. What's going on with your life right now?
Really cool stuff happening. It's just been a great 2025 was like a magical year. I got to be on Coast to Coast with George Noory right after I wrote the book. I mean, literally like 6 weeks after. I don't know how it happened, but that's how God works. So I got to share, let's see, the books are, and they're available, Through the Veil, A Journey of Remote Viewing, Spirit Communication, and Healing. It's online. Then A Better You Through Prayer and Fasting, Unlocking God's Healing Code for the Body, the Soul, and the Nation, because every Sunday, first Sunday of the month, God told me to pray and fast for America. I'm going on almost 5 years now. I've been doing this. So every first Sunday of the month, we do prayer and fasting, and please join me. It's for America. You can do however you want. It's like you can fast from TV if you want. I just want you to fast whatever you want. I do have a new book I just finished today, and it is about it's called The Light Worker Guidebook, and it is about God. It's about God and us being the workers for God. Now, a lot of
Yeah.
people are going to look at it from my past and what my work is. And yes, I do talk about my past. I do talk about what I've done and how I work with people. But now I always put the Lord's Prayer in. Now, people don't have to do that if they don't want to, but that's what this book is about. This book is sharing that. And I am starting to teach classes with that in May. So there'll be a series of these things that are in this book that I have done with my
Nice.
people and my work. And then I'm also a continuing education, a national board certified continuing education teacher. So I do teach class for certified massage therapists, which is really fun. I have my own private practice in Tucson. And then I do my sessions on the phone too, if anybody's interested. My website is my name, MercedesLuckeBenedict.com. We do have amazing thing also. My husband, our family, we have a 501c3 nonprofit, but it's something I always wanted is to help the animals, the wildlife, and God manifested that. So he created these amazing sculptures that are interactive, that move like a giant butterfly, a dragonfly, and the people love them. They love them, and so we're creating a touring exhibit. It's been at the Tucson Botanical Gardens for like 8 months now. It's at the amazing Arizona Sonoran Desert Museum through April, and we've got calls for different parts of the country. A couple of already coming in, and so I just know that God is blessing us, and that's my also way to help bring awareness to the animals and the wildlife. And Joe is right there with us. He's making
Praise
these
God.
amazing sculptures.
Yeah.
So life is very good. I'm very thankful, very thankful. And I just found out I'm going to be at a Paracon for Arizona in Oracle, I guess, in April, which will be fun. And I can talk about all this stuff about God because if I'm going to do a Paracon, I'm not going to just be talking about the ghosts. I'm going to be talking about how God saved us and our property. And I think that is whether people want to hear it or not, because there's a lot of people that go, ugh, on that. But no, I mean, once this stuff happens, it's like my duty. I feel like it's my duty to share that. So thank you for having me on. You are so
thank you for coming on. We got to do this again.
You're just awesome. And your life, like your story is amazing. So I have 2 podcasts, Explaining the Unexplainable, which I would love to have you on. It's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the Web Radio Network, and that's also on YouTube and Facebook. And then I am on with Archbishop Ronald Enright, and I co-produce The Unseen Realm, which is an amazing podcast that's on every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where all of these amazing exorcists, one of them is 96 years old. The spiritual psychiatrist, Dr. Adrian, he's 87. And then we got Bishop Joshua. Their knowledge and experience is so incredible. And I think they would love to speak to you too. Oh my goodness. So
I would.
I'm going to talk to them about you, because sometimes we can have guests on that show. Mainly, it's a call-in show, so people call in and they ask what help they could get, because this is a worldwide ministry. So they ask all these questions. And the other one is a better you through prayer and fasting, which I'd love to have you on. And that one I've just toned it down to like once or twice a month now, because it's just not enough time for everything. But I wait and have really special people that can come on, and that's on Tuesdays when it does come on in the 12 o'clock.
Yeah, just let me know. I'll be there.
Cool. Thank you. And
thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Hello, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. Mercedes right now is driving in her car. I see that she put a few messages up there. She says hello to everybody. Let me go back up top. A lot of questions and answers here. Give me a second. All right, well, you've had supernatural experiences, okay, your whole life. I like to hear about them. You know, you could go on BobbyLuisi.com and you could send me a message if you want to do that. Send me a phone number and we could talk. I'm going to see right now. All right.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Is it on like right now?
We're on right now. Yep.
So maybe by the time I get home, it would be over, and then I might be able to get on my computer. I could try to get home. It should take me like 30 minutes to get home.
Yeah, no, we'll be over by then. We did the whole show. And
Okay.
there's a few questions here.
Okay.
And I want you to let me see where they are.
Do you want me to be live on audio?
Yeah, well, they can hear you right now.
Oh.
Yeah, they can hear you right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll turn my car off. I was just about to drop off. Hello, everyone.
All right, she's saying hello.
Let me get on I think I can get on the YouTube channel and talk to you, but I'll try while you're asking me questions.
All right, and you could see, if you could see the questions right here, you could start answering some of them.
Okay. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so where are we? Let's see. I'll turn the show on, and I can't turn the volume on. Okay, there I am. I'm talking. Okay, so let me turn that off, and then I will look at this modern technology. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Okay, so let's see. I'm seeing some people. Scott 2025, Scott H.
Mm-hmm.
WA War 70. It's a heck of a thing when you see someone manifest. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Have had supernatural experiences my whole life. You were sent back. It's a heck of a thing. Welcome, Hope. Same to you. Hey, G. God saved my life multiple times from Scott. Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm. If you go up, I want you to see Dr. Laura there. She has a question.
Okay, Dr. Laura. What is the question? I don't see it.
Is she the mom? All right. Is she the mom on BMF?
What is BMF?
I don't know.
Well, let's not be that person then.
Yeah. That's all right. She was just asking.
I wonder what BMF.
All right.
I wonder what BMF. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't have TV. We don't have a television. We have not had we don't have it. We don't even watch the Netflix, even though I could. I guess we could. I just do everything with just to keep everything kind of calm and not to have too much of the world always. I'm on my phone and all that stuff all the time anyway. Yeah. So we watch a lot of old things, like old television shows. But anyway, I'm not seeing. What are some other questions that I'm not seeing?
I'm not seeing them either. I saw that one, and mostly it's just sharing a little things about themselves, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. And we're down to 4 viewers right now. That's what I see on there.
Okay.
Well, I think the best thing that we could do is come back on again and we'll have a question and answer. This way you can be right here.
I would say that the name is Lucky, so it's pronounced Lucke, but it's pronounced Lucky, so it's Mercedes Lucke.
Okay.
And the reason I kept that was because that was my name when I did all my music and television, and Lucky has been my name when I've done my performance. So when I remarried Joe, I actually decided to keep that because if you looked up, you wouldn't find me all my other stuff I did. So one of the things it says is like they like remote places, and it is. I think there's a lot of things that happen in the remote areas. That's for sure. I know in our place, used to have the place where they really, so I mean, I really appreciate it. Looks like you had a lot of people on, and I really appreciate everybody making comments. It looks like a great audience here, so thank you.
Yes,
thank you everybody. And it looks like a great show. I mean, we did good, Bobby.
Yes, we did. We did very good. So what what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna wrap the show up. I just want that everybody hear your voice. And we'll schedule everything, and I want you back on the show for question and answer.
Okay, and then we are going to have you on explaining the unexplainable next week, so maybe everybody can follow over there to my program. And I just talked to Kadrosha, KO. She said she'd help promote that too for you. So that way we can hear some really awesome things about you, and I'm excited about that. So thank you very much for having me on your program.
You're welcome. And let's thank KO for all her work that she's done.
All right. God bless you all.
All right. God bless. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, hon. All right. Well, I think we had a nice show. This is just the beginning. I have a lot of people that want to come on with a lot of different stories. So we're going to be here every Wednesday night. We're going to be here live, and it'll be the same thing. I'll pre-record, just like I did with the teachings. If you remember back then, I'll pre-record everything. I'll come on before, and then I'll come on after with the guest for question and answer. But I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. And all right, I'll see you next week. Amen. There we go. All right, everybody. God bless.